Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. The temperature's rising. We're here for Love Island USA, Season 2, Episode 6. And I think I know where we're going to spend the majority of the time on the show. But should we first talk about the dates? So Caleb and Calvin had a choice of two other girls, so they've been on dates yesterday's episode 4. So we're not going to cover the recaps, are we? Probably should have said that before because I don't want to say all the same things that we said again. What did you make of those dates?
Well, they were okay, Dave. I mean, they seem like two nice guys. Caleb knows what he wants. He's not offensive. He's quite direct, but he's a nice lad. Calvin, again, nice guy. He's smiling all the time. Whether the mask drops on either of them, I'm not sure. Everything about them is just, they're just vanilla, aren't they? They've not done anything wrong, Dave. And I'm trying my hardest not to talk about the subject we're going to talk about because it does centre on these dates. But I think they're two nice guys. They're two good additions to the house, which I think it needs, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, the only couple of things I'll say, and then we'll get into the meat. So, Kirsten was obviously impressed that Caleb was, from Texas as well. It kind of reminds me, when you used to go on holiday to fucking Spain or something, and you're like, oh, right, you're from here, and I'm from there as well. It's like you've fucking flown, 4 hours or whatever to go somewhere else. Why are people obsessed with getting to know people where they're from? But she's still well into Carrington, I think, but I think the door is a bit open for Caleb. And
Yeah, she did say a few things, didn't she?
yeah, and again, Calvin with Rachel, I thought he was saying all the right things. Again, when you come in, you've seen these people already, so they've been watching the show. They know more about them than the other way around, and I think it's pretty easy to say all the right things on that first date. So yeah, I think I agree. I think they're good additions to the house. But ultimately, Chris, should we stop fannying about and get on to the villain of the piece?
Well, Dave, when your girl goes on a date and step forward, Jeremiah, Rachel goes on a date, really enjoys it. Caleb's nice with her. He's chatting away. It's all like, everything's fine. He comes and talks to Rachel later on, gives her a kiss, says, look, we're not together. He said it on the VT. We are not together. So it doesn't matter. She can get to know whoever she wants. I understand that. I have no problem with it. And at the end of it, it actually made them stronger. They embraced Dave, a bit of a snog. I've written down Jeremiah, top man.
Yeah.
Dave. James, again, we talked about him in the last episode. I am going to go on record, Dave, to actually say I think he's probably one of the worst contestants I've ever seen on Love Island because his behaviour tonight is definitely, there's something psychotic about this guy. He's absolutely not right at all. You can smile all you want, but when you are being a bully and pushing Moira the way he did, honestly, I was fuming watching it. I was like, I've got to get on the podcast because it's like, surely someone's got to step in. He has got something wrong with him, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I just think what he did tonight was disgusting.
I think, yeah, through the whole episode, because we got clips from spanning 2 days, didn't we? And I thought, to be honest, Chris, he was a prize knob in both of them. Like, so I think all of us can be absolute bellends in a moment in time. You're low on energy, or you've had too much to drink, or something like that. And you can be in a prize cock. But then after that, the most important thing if you've been a prize cock is to call yourself out for being a prize cock, apologize, eat a bit of humble pie, and move on from it. I think the trouble in the thing for me was he just didn't see what he'd done that was wrong. I mean, straight away when Moira came back, you could tell her she was a bit off, and this had been leading up from the previous episode. And I know. So Terence had called us out on Twitter, hadn't he, saying we were being a little bit harsh on the previous episode on James, and I'm not going to read out the whole tweet because I think that hasn't aged particularly well given what we've seen tonight. So I just think that there were tiny little red flags, but Chris, these were big, massive, bloody flashing red flags today. I just think he was manic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And that's what we'd called out previously. He was being a bit over the top. Moira had been asked out on a date, but then honestly, if she had any doubt in her mind, then he's just cemented the whole thing by that horrible behaviour.
Yeah, because and you're right. There's no defense, I don't think, for what he said. When Terence said it the other day, he's right. What he'd said, I think, yeah, we've gone a bit hard in the paint, but what he did tonight, it didn't justify our approach because obviously we could be wrong, you could be wrong, whatever. We both could be wrong on anything when it comes to the show. You're making knee jerk reactions and just sort of reviewing it as you see it. Things can change. We've done that with plenty of contestants and called them out, and then later on we're like, oh, I absolutely love them, So I just don't think he can redeem himself. When she came back, she'd been on a date and spent half an hour with this guy, say. So I'm guessing half an hour, right? Obviously, they've had to
Hmm.
post stuff and do maybe redo some of the chat and that. But say half an hour together, genuine quality time. She comes back and just says, "Look, he is my type. I've got a little bit of a thing for him. I do like him. He's not even in the villa. He's never seen James. They've not kissed. They've not done anything. And his lines of interrogation, I'm thinking, fuck me, you need to work for the FBI or the CIA because he was literally, and every time she challenged him, but challenged him correctly, there was nothing I think personally she did wrong. He was like, I've not done anything wrong.
Yeah,
As soon as she challenged him, and he could clearly see, and he's like, and then he's making a scene in front of everyone. And I've got to say, Dave, fucking Mackenzie stepped right up and give him some shit. And
yeah,
she was right. And she's like, own your shit. Because he was going around snidely going, oh, she's a nutter. I'm finished with her. And I'm like, you are a dickhead, mate. An absolute obnoxious dick. And it's no wonder sometimes, Dave, with men like that, why women are so cautious of relationships because he's an idiot. And Moira needs to go nowhere near him. And thank God that she isn't, Dave.
yeah. I mean, there's too many little. I want to call them highlights, but I call them lowlights. Like I say, in that initial chat, he was fucking wired, and interrogation is one of the bullet points I got down here as well, because that's what it was. He wasn't letting her finish any of her sentences. He was talking over the top of her, not letting her finish what she had to say, and not just fucking listening. He wasn't listening at all. And again, we're not talking about fucking years of marriage here, Chris. He's known her for a few days, and honestly, I think he has that fucking sense of ownership, sense of entitlement. And it's just, like I say, he just fucking made himself look a prize cock. And when the two guys came in, and he sat next to Moira, so he's being a bit smothering, and then he's being just over the top. It's like, oh, they're great guys, aren't they? They're great guys, and again, just being too much. It's like, fucking dude, just recognize what's going on, chill the fuck out. And I have to say, hats off. I've said some things about Trey and how I think his head will be turned quite quickly. I thought he was a star tonight. I don't think anything he did was wrong, other than, right, he was the one who recognized, and he said in the diary room, like, James, that's not the way to behave. And but he was a bit too cryptic with James. He was just like, look, cool, chill out, I've got you, and all that stuff. So he could see what was going on. Honestly, Chris, if I was behaving like that, take me one to one side, slap me about, tell me I'm being a fucking knob, pack it in, and fucking grow up. Right? That's what
Yeah.
James needed in that moment, I think. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
know each other quite that well, but someone needs to fucking put him straight that that is unacceptable.
It is. And what was even worse was when he was having the chat with Moira the second time, when she come over and he was sat down and she was like, you fucking want to go home sort of thing. He like looked directly at the camera because I think he was thinking, oh shit. And I've looked on social media and I know that isn't always a barometer. It's not gone down well with anybody, Dave, what he did at all. I honestly think if it's purely on voting for a single person, which they've done a lot in Love Island the last few series, it used to be a couple, so you'd lose like one nice person and the dickhead one of the couple would get all the votes. So you'd lose like one good contestant. It's not like that anymore. If they're going to follow suit like the UK one, he's going to be out of the fucking door straight away. I mean, what I don't understand is, Dave, and it is like watching a psychological thriller, is he tries to do it with a smile on his face, and then he's going to the boys, and he's like trying to get their back up, and
Yeah.
even they were like, "You a dick, you're just out of order." Just, I mean, even Connor said to her, "Just leave her for an hour, just leave her," because I think the most uncomfortable situation of the whole episode is exactly what you've just said. When the new guys come in, and he's like, "I'll show you around, yeah, show you around, yeah. Oh, the great guys, aren't the great guys?" And she's looking at us to say, "Fuck off,"
Yeah.
like you've just given me a load of aggro for nothing, and he's not this act to me. He's just a sleazeball, and this act that he's doing, he's just dropped completely. And I honestly think, Dave, they're going to have to watch the producers because he's going to get, if it goes like the UK, he's going to get so much abuse when he comes out. He needs to really, like you just said, push to one side, maybe by the producers, and say, "Look, your behaviour's absolutely outrageous. You've got to stop." I mean, look, it makes good TV because I'm screaming at the TV. However, as a human being, I feel for Moira, and I also feel for him, thinking you're somebody's son, brother, whatever. Your family must sit there and go, "Oh, holy shit, what is he doing?" You can't justify any of that in my eyes, Dave. I could be wrong, and I'd be happy for anybody to call me out on this, but I just thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and I found myself thinking back to remember Joe and Lucy, and they'd been coupled up, and Tommy had inserted himself in the middle of there, and he got called out something rotten, didn't he, for being quite controlling and what have you. And I thought, you know what, compared to James tonight, that was nothing. I can't
Yeah,
think of a more. I guess maybe Connor, um, season 6 Love Island UK.
yeah, yeah,
I think he was pretty similar, wasn't he? Very, very insecure. The weird thing about James is he talks a fucking good game about how great he is, and he's funny, and he's this, and he's that. He doesn't seem short of confidence, but I think he strikes me as actually he's a lot more insecure than he makes out. Either, he's insecure, or he really is just fucking controlling, and yeah, it's fairly distasteful. Every time he was on screen tonight, I thought he made himself look particularly bad.
yeah, and obviously he's going to be aware of the cameras. You will be. You'll forget about them, but then when something like this happens, I genuinely thought he was backpedaling. I think he was thinking, "Oh shit, what have I done?" I don't necessarily think of his relation. I don't think he really cares about Moira. I think it's more just staying in the house looking at him. But um,
I don't
he
know.
must have gone through life doing this, Dave, because he just kept saying, "I don't know what's up with it. There's something wrong with that girl." And I'm thinking, "There's nothing wrong with her. I honestly don't think she did anything wrong."
There's only Mackenzie who's properly called him out, but she had to walk away because she was going to fucking lose it. I think it needs to come from one of the blokes because he's the fucking victim in all this. It's like, I've done nothing wrong. Dude, you've been a prize fucking cock. Have a word with yourself, right? Or someone needs to have a word with him because, he just needs to be fucking called out for it, Chris.
Yeah, he does. He does, and that's it. I mean, he tried, didn't he, to apologise the next day, and she's like, "You can't. Can you not tell my body language and stuff?" And I understand that it's difficult sometimes. She was being completely off with him, completely justified, completely support Moira on all this. But I also think he again wakes up and thinks, "Oh, we've slept on it. Everything will be fine." You can see that her skin's crawling now, and he puts his arms around her and everything, and they look so sweet a few episodes ago. And thank God this has come out because my word, if they'd left this house and got together, that would be a completely unhealthy relationship. He needs to grow as a person, Dave. And honestly, I just can't see it in this environment at all.
No, and like you say, I can't remember if it was when he looked at the camera, but he was saying like, you want drama, I'll give you drama. Again, Chris, this is pretty sinister stuff. Not because of what's going to happen on Love Island. They fucking watch like a hawk. You've got all security. It's just, you know, just how he navigates life. I just think, I just worry about some of the relationships he might have been in.
I know, and look, it's horrible to be so negative on somebody, but it's just wrong. If that was my daughter with someone like that, Dave, you'd be getting put in the Nevada desert and never be seen again if you treated her like that because that guy needs a serious talking to. His family need to intervene when he gets out of it and say, "You need to really look at yourself." And
Yeah.
that's horrible to do that. An intervention is horrible. And it's not what the podcast is about, Dave.
Yeah.
But he's a fucking cock, so I'm sticking to that anyway.
Well, like you say, let's move on from James because again, I hope again after the show's finished, he should watch the show back, and I hope he has a fucking come to Jesus moment and realizes he's been a bit of a prize cock and needs to grow up, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. And to make matters worse for poor Moira, she's now done a knee in as well. My word.
You know what? So even before she put her knee out, like when she was putting her arms up, Chris, some people are naturally extroverted and very outgoing and they can do stuff like that. But I think it looks so awkward when you've got someone who is a bit more chilled out and a bit more introverted, but they're like playing a part, they're acting the role. And so for me, even before she put her knee out, that split second, she just looked so awkward. Like she was just trying a bit too hard. It's like, woo, woo, and then she put her fucking knee out. She's on proper fucking crutches and everything later in the party. So I'm assuming she must have been to the hospital or something. How does that work
Yeah.
with when they're all locked down, or did they have all the medical staff sat there waiting for something like this to happen?
It must be somewhere, Dave, because she was getting carried in by Trey and Johnny, wasn't she?
Yeah,
So,
but she stood there when they're all dancing, stood there with her crutches, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, surely someone should just say, "Look, take the weight off it, just sit down," because that's where all the swelling's going to go down to your knee, isn't it? So I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Strange, isn't it? Really, really strange. But I think one of them, though, Dave's as well, is that's going to have an impact on the show, and her situation is not going to go away. That this is going to dominate the next couple of episodes, isn't it? So she's going to have to do a lot of sit down chats with James. She's not going to be able to get away with him now if he
I did
comes
wonder
over.
if off camera James had a little voodoo doll. It's
Oh
like
my word!
he's
Oh my!
turning into Gollum, isn't he? In the background, like my
Unbelievable.
precious.
There's something not right that kid. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. There wasn't really much else going on, was there?
I,
You know,
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say it was night and day, though, wasn't it? The way Rachel and Jeremiah handled the whole date thing, and the way James and Moira did. I thought Rachel and Jeremiah handled it brilliantly. Even Carrington. Now, I'd have thought before tonight's episode, I'd have thought Carrington had the potential to go off a bit like James, and you could see he was quite insecure with it. But I think him and Kirsten had a chat, and he seemed to handle it a little bit better. Kirsten does seem to have most of her eggs in Carrington's basket, but I think she is open to getting to know Caleb a bit more. Caleb's also, I think, interested in Rachel. So, but I like his energy. I like his chilled out kind of vibe. I like the fact that he's not fucking wired and just like, oh, I need to couple up with someone quick.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the way it should be, Dave. Because if you're just a normal person, it doesn't matter about the TV show, does it? That'll come naturally. If someone's there for you, they're there, aren't they? And it'll happen.
Yeah.
You're going to force, especially on a TV show like this. If you force it on something like this, then it's so apparent and obvious that it's just a couple up for inconvenience in it to stay in the house. We've seen it. We're veterans now, Dave. You especially now. It's been a year of you watching Love Island, and you're a veteran
You
of
know
the highest
what?
order.
I was thinking this the other day because we've done the UK, US, and Australia. I've probably watched more seasons than there have been seasons now.
Yeah,
So,
you've watched
so the
loads.
first four I missed out on, but watched two UK ones, two Australian seasons,
Yeah,
a
US.
US season, full seasons. That's five, isn't it? So,
Yeah, this should be your sixth season we're going through.
yeah. What am I
So
doing
you've
with
done
my
well,
life?
Dave. I don't know. And Too Hot to Handle, Love Is Blind, and what was the other, Single Town? Yeah, you've had a good run, Dave. Completely
What am I
converted.
doing?
Dave is a massive comic book fan and everything. We used to reviewing Avengers and stuff, and yeah, he's gone to shit, Dave. We're more worried about what James is doing than fucking anything else. But it's
he's
great
like
because
Thanos, isn't he? He's the
yeah, he
total
is.
villain, James.
Click his fingers. It's all over. Because that's the thing. When we watch this show, we both text each other. Something goes down. We're like, oh my God, I cannot wait. And today I was doing yoga. Like, I couldn't give a fuck about this yoga now. He's a wanker. I'm trying to concentrate as I've got it on and I can't do it. I'm just like, oh. So no, it's brilliant TV. I just hope that as a person, he has a proper, like you said, a come to Jesus moment, because he's going to be off before you know it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it wasn't really a lot else. They had the Vegas theme party. That was quite cool. It looks like we're going to have, lots of fireworks happening from that tomorrow. So, can't wait.
Yep, that's the one, Dave. So, guys, if you want to contact us on Twitter or Instagram at CD RealityCast, if you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. And if there's anything you disagree with what we said about James today, I'd love to get a different perspective. Whether we get called out, whether you put us down, it doesn't matter. This is what it's all about. Opinions make the world go round, and especially how strong we've gone with James today. So, get in contact with us. And if you do get a chance, drop us a review on the show, guys. As always, as we say, it just helps us grow and gets us out there to more people.
Awesome.
So
Now,
Dave,
sorry, we did see. So Geek Girl Soup tweeted us in and says, "Yikes! The Love Island USA couple I thought was going to make it is crashing and burning. Meanwhile, Mackenzie is a fucking rock star." So I think there's no prizes for guessing that's around James and Moira. And like I say, I do think the first 3 episodes they look quite sweet. We talked about, first of all, Moira seemed to want to escalate the physical relationship. Then she backed off a little bit, but then James is like, I thought we'd have done stuff by now or something like that. And so, yeah, what a week it's been for them. So, yeah. But I have to say, Chris, I was the same. I was getting quite wound up watching this one.
Yeah.
But it makes for good TV, doesn't it? So I think this is, we've had a couple of quieter episodes and then they've ramped up the drama again. So I'm kind of hoping that tomorrow's much of the same.
Exactly. No, I agree, Dave. And already, I think this is eclipsing Series 1 of the US Love Island, because it was too vanilla at times. That this is classic Love Island 101, this.
Yeah. No, it was pretty vanilla, wasn't it? I mean, we had, was it Western? He was jumping from girl to girl, so that created the drama. But everyone handled it in a very grown-up way. It's been better in it if you get a couple of head the balls.
Yeah. Right, mate. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye now.